Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm an adventurer, filmmaker and photographer from the north of England, and I'm currently in the Faroe Islands. Interestingly, there is a fuel strike on at the moment, so I'm quite limited in what I can do because I've only got the use of one full tank of fuel because I can't fill it up anywhere, and I need to ensure that I'm able to get back to the airport. So it's going to be quite fun over the next few days figuring out how I can get to different places and how I can get back from them. So we'll see how things go. Good morning from the Faroe Islands. It's my first day here, and this morning I've decided to drive from Tórshavn, which is the capital and the base where I'm staying, up to a place called Hvannasund in the northeasterly corner. And from here I'll be catching a boat, the number 58, which will take me out to some of the smaller islands. And the boat is quite well known for being a post boat. It takes the mail as well as other provisions and it drops it off to some of the more isolated areas in this corner of the Faroes. The boat that I was due to catch was 8:45 this morning, and as I made my way along the road on the opposite side of the fjord, I could see the boat, and it just went a minute ahead of the time that I got to the car park. So I'm currently here killing a little bit of time before I can catch the next one, which is in about 4 hours. So starting off from Tórshavn and then working my way all the way up to Hvannasund. So this journey is about an hour, and then the boat will go over to Sørvágur and Froðba, these two islands here, and that round trip will all be about 2 hours. Just about to jump on the helicopter on the way to Froðba. I checked in at the little cabin here, had my bag weighed and watched a safety briefing video. There's 12 seats and I believe it's a full flight today, so I look forward to getting airborne and seeing the Faroe Islands from the sky. On the island of Skúvoy, after getting the helicopter over here, just over my shoulder is my first sighting of puffins up close. I've got my 100 to 500mm telephoto lens, so I should be able to crop in and get some really nice tight close-ups from this point without disturbing them. So I'm just on a bit of a concrete track here which leads down to where I think and hope the ferry port is, and yeah, the puffins are just enjoying themselves, just hanging out on the cliff top just over my shoulder here. I'm currently on the island of Mykines, which is famous for its puffins, and I got the boat this morning from the main island at 9:15 AM, and it was about a 45-minute journey over to Mykines itself, and the boat was packed. It is a very popular tourist spot, and as soon as you get off the boat you're met by some local people who effectively charge you for a hiking fee to be able to go to the puffin spot. So it was 500 Danish kroner for me to access the puffin area itself, and there were puffins around. It's currently late May and you could definitely see them flying, but they weren't abundant, and fortunately there were a few that decided to park themselves just off to the side of the path where we were, so I managed to get some really nice close-up shots of the birds, which is really the main aim of the trip. With that said, I went to Skúvoy yesterday by helicopter, and that came in at about 350 Danish kroner, so quite a bit cheaper and a much cooler way to be able to access an island by getting airdropped in. And then when I was there, I was the only person there. There was no other tourists at all. It was so incredibly remote, and I basically had the puffins all to myself. Then on the way back from Skúvoy, I caught the boat, which was free, and then I hitched a lift back to Tórshavn. So as a round trip, that was much more of like an independent adventure and much more my style, rather than tagging along on the tourist trail, which this very much is here in Mykines. That being said, it is still a very beautiful place and it's still very much worthy of a trip. And at the moment, because I can't drive everywhere like I normally would do because I can't fuel up the car, so I'm having to be quite selective about where I go and what I do and how I do it, just in order to be able to maximize the things that I'm able to see in here. I need to leave enough in the tank to make sure that I get back to the airport okay, so I'm having to be a little bit cautious about how I go about my travels while in the Faroe Islands, which definitely adds a little bit of jeopardy to the mix, which I didn't necessarily envisage, but that's all part of the fun of the adventure. Just departing Tórshavn now to make my way back to the airport and head home to the UK via Copenhagen after a brilliant 7-day adventure in the Faroe Islands. And to be perfectly honest, it wasn't anywhere near enough time to be able to see and do everything that I wanted to do. So I'm certain that I'll be back again in the not too distant future to be able to continue exploring this fantastic must-see destination that, if it's not on your list, add the Faroe Islands to it, because it is truly a spectacular place to come and visit. As you can see from my phone here, it's 44 kilometres to the airport, and I have got about 90 kilometres in the tank, so I should be alright to make it there. There's not going to be a lot left when I drop it back off, but I have survived the Faroe Islands fuel crisis.